Hi, this is Dr. Justex once again. Hope you're all fine. Well, I stopped in the last video that buried in my life where I started to learn biology at a great depth actually. Learning about evolution was astonishing to me. It made sense. It made a great deal of sense actually. It how can I say that? Revealed the details which explain exactly why we are who we are and why the human body acts as it does. So, learning about biology and evolution alongside with my enthusiasm to learn physics was a pivotal point in my life. It was. But why is evolution contradictory to religious belief? It is simple. Religion is not a matter of cherry picking. You're not picking what you like and discarding what you don't. Although most of religious people do that. Christians say, well, we don't believe anymore in these parts of the Bible, but we do believe in other parts. I think that's nonsense. This is hypocrisy. But the Muslims don't. In general, Muslims take religion literal. Too literal, actually. And the Muslim public who are not taking religion too literal because they believe that it does have an alternative interpretation. This is the way I used to think, well, when I was little, but I grown up. I realized it all is nonsense. The religious fundamentalists who are making our life a nightmare are doing the literal instructions in the Quran. Back to why evolution is contradictory to beliefs. Evolution itself does not negate the presence of God. It does not take away the need for a God, the need for a creator, the need for a conscious being to be the mastermind behind our universe. But it does contradict how the religion tells the story. Because if the evolution is correct, then there's no Adam, there's no Eve, and sure there's no Noah's Ark, because if there is a Noah's Ark, there was, sorry, a Noah's Ark, it would be a bottleneck in our evolutionary history. It would result in a much more similarity between human beings. There would be no blood types, different receptors in our cells, like the major histocompatibility complex receptors, which define self from non-self to immune system. You wouldn't have races, you wouldn't have differences in genomes, differences in fingerprints. All that would be unpresent. One might argue, well, there was a Noah's Ark, but people diverge by mutations and natural selection, etc. Well, it cannot happen, because the rate at which we will diverge from a non-common ancestor with two parents will result in a huge changes that will finally kill the human race, would be extinct, not present today. So for sure there was no Adam and no Eve, and all humanity could not have come from two pair of humans. Two humans would not make us all in the way we are today. This is one. The other thing that is contradictory is, well, evolution tells us that we came from a common ancestor with African apes, chimpanzees, and chimpanzees actually. If this is true, so nobody came from heaven as the Quran tells. There was no Garden of Eden, the Bible says. But why is evolution true? Some people till now are arguing, well, the Quran told us that about evolution before science did. Well, that's all nonsense. Maybe to non-Arabic speakers, they might get fooled by this allegation. But I tell you, as a native Arabic speaker, it's all nonsense. It's all rubbish. The Quran never addressed this. The reason that people say the Quran had miracles, well, the language in which the Quran is written can be interpreted in many ways, but there is phrases that cannot be interpreted in many ways. One of which I might say to you that before there was an earth, there was animals, the Quran said that there was a God on a throne on water. As you all might imagine, this is a lot of crap. If there was water, there was matter, there was gravity, and there was a universe. So if there was nothing, there would be no space and no water, and of course, this is not the case. So this is a huge contradiction. It cannot be interpreted in any other way. So why is evolution truth, and how I can be so sure it took place? Well, apart from the scientists who assert it, I might give you some other clues from my work as a physician. One thing is, you always will hear in anatomy and physiology, this is a rudimentary function or a rudimentary muscle, or a rudimentary nerve, etc., and so on and so forth. One example of this, a muscle in the forearm called the palmaris longus muscle. This muscle has a job, a weird one. It tenses fascia in the palm of the hand to make you walk on all four without injuring yourself. Well, why would we need such a function? We don't. Actually, half the people don't have a palmaris longus muscle, and they are doing just fine. But the reason for that is because it is a leftover from our journey to arise and evolve from quadrupedals to bipedals. Another thing, the muscles and nerves that can move the ear, pinna, in some human beings. Some human beings can move their ear, some can't. Well, lower animals do move their ears to know the source of the sound. You might watch that in your pet cat or pet dog. They can move their ear. They have the muscles for it. But why the hell would we have such a useless muscle? Well, it is obvious. It is a leftover from evolution. It cannot be explained by religion. And cannot be explained by the so-called perfect body of ours that was given to us by the Creator. Our body is not perfect. That's one thing that I learned too. Have you ever heard about something called referred pain? Well, referred pain is a pain that you might have on your external body that is not in the true place. If you have a heart attack, you might have some epigastric pain, some pain in your left arm, the inner side of your left arm, or in your teeth. Well, that's a big mistake. The reason for that is the pain gates in your spinal cord are not familiar with pains from your inner organs. They are familiar more with pain from your skin and outer layers of your body. So you can quite see this is a full body, can be fooled quite simply actually. It does not point to a very intelligent creator. Another thing, your eye. Creationists take eyes as an example of fine details and irreducible complexity. Well, eyes is nothing complex or irreducibly complex or perfect. We all are born with a degree of myopia or hypermetropia, that is nearsight or farsight. Also astigmatism. To some point, our corneas are not perfectly spherical. So how can this be perfect? It's not. A simple answer would be nature would only give you what you need to survive and nothing more. It will not serve you to be perfect. The blow came from also genetics. Genetics just put the last nails, put the last nail in the coffin of religion. By genetic studying a weird phenomena called the ERV locus or the ERV genome in our own genome. What is an ERV? It's an endogenous retroviral genome. A virus, much like influenza or measles, is made of an RNA genome and a protein coat. These protein coats have receptors that recognize the cell to attack and insert their genes to the cell to replicate more viruses. It's not living. It's not a living thing. It just came to life when it enters the cell. Now, if you are a zygote or an embryo in your mother's uterus and get infected with one of these, sometimes the virus will enter what is called an abortive cycle. The genome of the virus will not be activated, it will not produce viruses. It will shut up and stop working and be shoved in your genome by complete randomness. It can be in any place in your genome. Your genome is made of 3 million base pairs. Well, if I have a stretch of genome to be shoved among 3 million base pairs, you have a chance of getting that twice exactly in the same location. 1, 2, 3 million. 3 billion, sorry. So if it's 1, 2, 3 billion, what are the chances if you are not related to have the same ERV gene in the same spot? You can't. It's just like the fingerprint. So when the chimpanzee genome came to be known, the human and chimpanzee had 16 ERV loci in the same place in the genome. If you calculated the chances that we are not related to a common ancestor that passed along these errors in the genome, the chances would be 1 to 2 multiplied by 20 to the power of 138. It's like getting the same subatomic particle from the galaxy, the whole galaxy of us, the Milky Way, twice exactly correct. It is ridiculous. And if you look at other parts like CNS, like your behavioral pattern, like your physiology of living, you would see the same. So evolution must be correct. And if it's correct, then the interpretation of religions is bogus. Well, think for yourself. You will know what I mean. Okay, bye for now, and see you in next videos.